Nailed it, baby. That was a good intro. Nailed it. We're going to be turning up the gain on this puppy a little bit because what we're doing here today, people, is a little bit different than the kind of stuff that we do here in the past. I am going to be doing a bit of a reaction video. Although, holy hell, there was nobody there. And then in 1 second, every one of you popped up all at once. It was scary. I looked down and all of a sudden I had an audience. This is a tribute to our SPTV viewers here on the Lifeboat. It is also in answer to a conversation that Ron and I had the last time I was on his channel. I talked about the thoughts that I had on L. Ron Hubbard were based on listening to large volumes of the man speaking. There are volumes of L. Ron Hubbard out there speaking. And what I found amazing was that, am I weird or is the sound weird? Uh-oh, no, don't say it. Don't say it. Can I get a 5x5, everybody? Am I sounding bad? Let me check this out. Let me see. I sound good to me. Do I get a 5x5? I want to make sure we don't, I don't screw any of this up. It sounds better now. Okay. It was the no earbud thing. That could have been it, man. It could. I may have had my earbuds close enough to the microphone for some feedback. I apologize, people. By way of full disclosure, I'm not very good at this. So thanks, everyone. The last time I was on with Aaron, I said that a great deal of my opinion on the meth stuff, 5x5 SPTV Tattoo Warrior is on a scale of 1 to 10, audio wise, I'm coming in at a 5, and on a scale of 1 to 5, on 1 to 5, audio, I'm coming in on a 5. You hear me well, and the video is also a 5. So 5x5 is the crew telling me that I'm coming through okay, that the broadcast is not subpar, which does happen from time to time. So we're glad to hear that we're firing on all cylinders. So this is a clip of audio that was recorded on the Apollo, the ship, the Apollo, in October, apparently, of, I think, 1968. Let me see something here. October 3rd. This was recorded on October 3rd of 1968 aboard the boat. And I think it's kind of odd because when I did the last show on Aaron's channel, a crapload of people reached out to me and said, where is there a video where L. Ron Hubbard is talking about Xenu? Which blew me away because this is, I assumed that this was just one of those things that everybody has heard. I'm not sure whether Ron, I think he has. I'm not 100% sure on this. I know that we had talked about it, but this, I will not lie to you people, is a shameless fishing expedition because I would like Ron to comment on this with me. I would like to do, because if I play this in its entirety, which I'm not going to do right now, I'm going to play a very brief clip of L. Ron Hubbard today. His voice talking about Xenu. Now, he says Xemu, right? Xemu. Xemu, not Xenu. He actually goes as far as to spell it on this audio twice. I am not going to play the entire audio. I'm going to play enough audio where people realize that this is a real audio and that this man absolutely, because there is a group of people on this planet who claim that this is absolute horse feces. In fact, when Ted Koppel interviewed the garden gnome, what's his name again? David Miscavige. When he was interviewed, and if you've never seen that interview, you ought to. It's a heck of a lot of fun. It's a good interview. It really is. But when he was interviewed, old Ted Koppel said, I just listened to an audio tape of L. Ron Hubbard talking about space planes and a galactic overlord. And the garden gnome said, of course, he runs this institution. But he said, I've never heard that audio. I don't know that audio exists, but it is not part of our of our doctrine. Well, this is old LRH in his own words talking about. This is that audio, I believe, is the same audio that was being referenced that day, and it was most assuredly the audio that I was referencing when on SPTV growing up in Scientology with our friend and brother, Ron. So I'm going to play a clip of this. And if you're a Scientologist and you want to get together and talk about this thing, let me know. For real, I would dig that. This is because it played in its entirety. There are some rants that sound so much like a drug addict. And I would like the addicts on the boat to listen to this cat, because a lot of us have been around. I'm just using the vernacular. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but all of us have been around tweakers at 2:30 in the morning who are just on one and just spinning a yarn of absolute BS. And you know what I'm talking about. The stories just get more unbelievable. Gianna says, what will I do if they start fair gaming me? You know, it's really hard to do that to a guy like me. You know what I mean? I'm an open book. Like the things that people do to to dig up your past and all that. My past is absolute common knowledge. I've shared my all of the depths of the depravity of the person that I used to be, and I'm if they want to dig up some dirt on me going forward, good freaking luck, because the life that I live these days, you would most assuredly need to manufacture something. But I honestly believe, and I'll say this, I honestly believe that SPTV is having an effect on that, affecting the degree to which the Church of Scientology can get away with the things that they used to get away with. People like Aaron, I mean, absolutely no joke. People like Leah Remini that have just said, you know what, we're putting this out there, right, in everybody's face. And then there have been so many other really great YouTube channels and people that have written fantastic books and really taken. I mean, you talk about doing some damage to to an organization. They have put the hurts to this organization. How many people do you think are actually going in there and signing up for this at this point? But my beef with them, is the family stuff. And if they start, let them. I mean, I'll be really honest with you. I don't know. I better come tough. You know what I mean? Like I've been in some rough situations. I'm not timid. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't think I'd be the guy. I don't think I'd be the one. Honestly, I think that I wouldn't be the one to pick. I really wouldn't. It would be, but whatever they do, they can do what they do. And this is a very limited amount of what we do here on the boat. It really is. It's a very limited amount. But there are so many parallels between the people that get caught up in this and addiction. And this is important to me because I absolutely talked about this. Like I made reference to this, and I even had people reach out to me and say, "Where's this tape of LRH talking about that?" Like it was something that no one had heard. I don't know how many people have actually heard it, but this absolutely falls under the fair use. I am going to be commenting on it as we go, and it is going to be a very short segment of this used for the purpose of criticism and me educating and criticizing. Falls right under fair use. Did all the research first. We're going to play a short one. But this, in his own voice, is old LRH. And we are at about 44 minutes and 23 seconds into this speech that he does. And I will tell you at the end where you can go and get this so that you can listen to the entire thing. Because I think it is important to listen to something like this in context. And I will say that. But when you listen to it in context, he speaks for an hour and 27 minutes. It is absolutely an ordeal. I mean, I'm not being disrespectful. I'm really not. But when you listen to this and imagine it droning on for an hour and 27 minutes, it's like telling your kid a bedtime story. It just sounds like this guy's making up a story. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I know that the people there were believers, and it happens, right? Everybody's religion is ridiculous, mine included, right? They all hinge on a huge amount of faith. but it's rare that in a religion you can actually hear the usually religions very often are quite old, but because of the how influential this cat was, like he was the church, right? All of this is based on his experiences. So here is the story of Xenu, the galactic overlord, or yeah, the Galactic Confederation overlord. Anyway, I give you LRH. I think you're supposed to salute or something at that point.
All right. For this planet and for this confederacy of the 21 adjacent stars and its 76 planets, the incident 2, it is a very long, involved, and complex instance, about 36 days. It starts out normally with a capture.
36 days. Right? Everybody hearing this okay? I realize how I'm doing this is ghetto YouTube, but this is the only way that I can pull it off. So this is a 36-day event.
Some kind or another. Capture. And don't think of yourself as I'm trying to run a capture of having been airy-fairying around in the air and somebody something or other and got you down with a net and all that. Because people at that particular time and space were walking around in clothes which looked very remarkably like the clothes they wear at this very minute. And the cars they drove looked exactly the same, and the trains they ran looked the same, and the boats they had looked the same. Circa 1950, 1960, this civilization has simply copied R6 100% because they were told to. And they walked down streets that looked like these streets and lived in houses that looked like these houses and so on.
He makes a reference a bunch to this R6 thing throughout this. And you kind of get the feeling that R6 is very much like the almost like the alphabet agencies of our world. And if there's a Scientologist that wants to correct me on that, please feel free. But that's the feel you get from it. And they are responsible for all of the brainwashing and all of the other fun stuff that is happening.
What the hell? And there was quite a bit of huffle-luffle and then upset and so on before R6 took place. What it was the loyal officers were the body, the elected body. They call them the loyal officers. They were there to protect the populations and so forth. And they had elected a fellow by the name of Xenu, could be spelled Xemu, to the supreme ruler. And they were about to unelect him. And he took the last moment he had in office to really goof the floof. Yes, I don't blame you for dropping something.
To goof the floof. You really got to love that expression. But he took the opportunity. So this is where we're getting into the meats and the potatoes of it, people. All right, here we go.
He took these last moments to really upset it. He, of course, had several key birds who were close to him. He was a suppressive, and all suppressives. He got these administrators and so on, and heads of planets in various positions and places. He picked out all the cowboys in the white hat, and he got rid of them first fast, and then troops, not knowing what the hell they were doing, but fed all kinds of false orders, were fed in against the population to pick them up, one after the other. One of the mechanisms they used was to tell them to come in for an income tax investigation.
So they're picking up everybody on this planet, apparently. Tons of souls, rounding them up. And one of the plans was to bring these people in. So it sounds like that basically they were coming in for an auditing right before, and literally an auditing, not like a Scientology auditing. They were coming in thinking that they were dealing with the IRS. And this is how they captured these souls they were going to bring to Earth.
And the United States just copies income taxes, just R6, a bunch of dramatizing psychotics. So in they went, and the troops started slaughtering them, and then the troops, of course, were ordered out to get a hold of certain bodies of renegade troops, which were ordered to get certain bodies of lab troops, and they shot each other up and implanted each other and wiped it out. They were making billiard balls out of these places. they were imported. They were actually, the trick was to shoot somebody, disable somebody, very often a needle into a lung, and at the same time to hit him with frozen alcohol and glycol, which preparation is guaranteed to pick up a Thetan. All he had to do was pick him up and put him in a refrigerator, and they had him, boy. Because he tried to exteriorize from the body, there he was, frozen. And they threw them into collection points, boxed them up in boxes, threw them into space planes, which are the exact DC-8s. The DC-8 airplane is the exact copy of the space plane of that day.
This is also a question answered to something they were talking about on growing up in Scientology the other day, when they were questioning whether or not, when Xenu, as they say it now, he said Zemu, but when he boxed everybody up and came here, were their actual bodies? And the answer is yes, because the alcohol and the whatever glycol, he said, I think frozen alcohol and glycol that you put in the body, that traps the Thetan in the body. That's what he said in this speech anyway, which I found somewhat fascinating. But this is certainly Xenu in his words.
And no difference, except the DC-8 had fans, propellers on it, and the space plane didn't. And they threw them into refrigerated units and so on, in view of the fact that Einstein was absolutely right. No man can't go faster than the speed of sound, or speed of light, which is much of balderdash. The length of time from the planet Cultus to the planet Tigiak, which is the name of this.
He said, I'm going to back this up, because it sounds to me like he said Einstein is absolutely right. And then he goes on to call him a bumbling idiot because you can absolutely fly faster than that. So let me see if I can back that up. And tell me if you hear the same thing.
DC-8 had fans, propellers on it, and the space plane didn't. And they threw them into refrigerated units and so on, in view of the fact that Einstein was absolutely right. No man can't go faster than the speed of sound, or speed of light, which is much of balderdash. The length of time from the planet Cultus to the planet Tigiak, which is the name of this planet, was 9 weeks, and you'll see that it's many light years. Cultus is one of the planets, and is to this day one of the planets of the North Star, Polaris. And people were buried in here by the billions and the billions and the billions, and they were buried in here with boxes, and they were put in boxes and stacked around. And the people who were on this planet already just caught it in the teeth. They weren't bothered. Nobody bothered to pick them up. They just shot their administrators from guns and shot their control points out. And they took these people in boxes and so forth, and they dumped them, and then they set off hydrogen bombs on the top of each primary volcano there is on this particular planet. And when they blew up, it blew the Thetans into the air, and after the bomb, an electronic ribbon, which also was a type of standing wave, was erected over the area. The tremendous winds of the planet blew every Thetan there was straight into those particular vacuum zones which had been created. These were brought down, packed up, and put.
That's about as much as I can take of this cat. I got to do him in really small doses because he really truthfully does give me the creeps. But he goes on to explain how the brainwashing centers then take place, and how everything we believe on this planet, much like the Matrix or anything else, was implanted into people at these motion picture theaters, which he says very oddly several times throughout the thing. Very odd cat. I call balderdash. Smell. You know what? The Tommy Bird says, "Wow, he's on a good one." See, thank you. I mean, that's what I said too, Tommy. And I'm going to give you, I'm going to tell you people how you can go. I should wear the hat when I do the LRH thing. What am I thinking? Thank you, Kathy. That's executive thinking. I don't know why I didn't get all over that when I had an opportunity. That really was a missed opportunity. Okay. So if you look up Secret Scientology on YouTube, if you just type in Secret Scientology with a dash and then Xemu, Xemu, that's the full lecture. You can hear Hubbard talk about the entire thing in his own voice. Now, I'll tell you something. Half of it, you need a freaking translator. If you think that sometimes I talk about prison and the apparently you are supposed to shout hip hip hooray, Wendy. That's true. That is that I have seen that actually now in a couple of videos. Yes, especially if I'm donning the hat, but I think I'm gonna. It's one more reason to keep the hat in retirement. I'll pull it out for really special occasions. I'll don the hat. I just think he's wasted in telling stories to entertain. Kathy, I agree with you, right? But what happened was this did become doctrine, right? Because we know now from AA, from tons of other people. Leah Remini does an amazing job on the Joe Rogan program. If you've never seen that one is absolutely worth catching. But she goes on Joe Rogan and she talks about the when she reached the OT levels and they gave her the briefcase and she learned about the galactic overlord. It's not funny. I'm laughing, but it's not. Honestly, it's not funny. I managed to catch a live quicker than I figured I would. Not your usual though. Well, I'm glad that you're here, Lauren. I really am glad that you're here. I am. We do shows at 5 every day, and they are very strictly for the most part. We do a joke around show on Saturday where we do trivia and we do some other things. But the 5 o'clock shows are about sobriety. They're about living your best life. And if something like this comes up, we do it during the day. Or thanking Aaron's channel or doing anything like that. We're going to do it, off those hours because we don't want to take away from what we're doing on the boat. These are fun. I dig the deep dives. I'm sure there will be other things at times that I deep dive into. No, this is definitely not normal life, bro. This is between the fives, and I've talked about other things too that I've ended up deep diving into that were less drug related. But this is. Imagine getting that briefcase filled with nonsense about the spaceman named Xenu. I have actually spent a lot of time thinking about the moment where you get that briefcase. And the horrific thing to me is that I have a set of beliefs. You have a set of beliefs. V has a set of beliefs, right? Everybody has a set of beliefs. Even if they say, I don't believe anything, that's a set of beliefs. You believe that everything else out there is wrong. That is a belief set, right? So everybody has that set of beliefs and they become very ingrained in us. Well, imagine if your beliefs weren't just something that were near and dear to you that you got from reading or whatever, but something that was drilled into you, like professionally, right? Their auditors know what they're doing and they're drilling into you. And you got this machine in front of you. And by the time you get to that level, the amount of time and effort and the amount of you that individual has put into this process is astounding, right? It's like going into business with somebody and realizing at year 3 that you partnered up with the wrong person, right? This guy's not a good person. He's a dirtbag, whatever, but you're all in, right? You got a mortgage, you got a couple of car payments, you got all of these things. I think the church is the same way. You've given up so much about who you are. You've told all the stories in auditing sessions and everything else about who you are and what you're doing and all of that. That's a frightening proposition. And now all of a sudden you get that briefcase and you're like, oh my God, what now? What do I do? I do think that the church is probably doing less nefarious things these days. I really kind of believe that. Their exploits are pretty well known and they're documented and everything else, and people talk about them. But I think that the channels like the whole SPTV family ends up holding their feet to the fire in the whole in this process, so that they can't really get away with the things that they used to get away with. and I could be wrong. Maybe they're still raging, but it seems to me that SPTV is having an effect on them and how they do it, just about everything. Yeah, see, Kathy is in agreement with me. Let me get this thing a little bit bigger so I can read it. But Kathy says many got to this level and knew it was BS. But at that point, they've got so much cash and so much time sunk into it that it's just not going to happen. Well, and Lydia Von Stretchclaw says, no wonder they make you go through years of indoctrination before they hit you with the Xenu stuff. And I think that's really what it comes down to, right? And I'll tell you something else. I think that in the very beginning of this, what he was doing was probably a fairly noble concept. Whether you believe in the religion or anything else, I think it was probably a pretty noble concept. The idea was they were trying to find a way to cope with things in this life, right? Now, whether you do that through counseling, whether you do that through groups or friends, or you build your own support group and your own support family like we've done here, however you decide to do it, everybody's searching for that, right? In one way or another. And there are people that find it in many, many different religions. And I think in the early days of Scientology, before they got to the all the OT levels and all that, I think that, you know, it was pretty you know, it was benevolent stuff. It was stuff like how to communicate better, you know, and how to have a better marriage. And there were, I think it was a lot of courses that really were benefiting people, but they ran out, right? Then what? It's like you've walked these people as far as you can. And, you know, the comment earlier, it sounds to me like he was really on one. And I think that that's kind of what happened. I think, and I'll be honest, and this is just, look, I'm not a doctor. I'm not anything, but I think that I think there was probably some mental illness at play, because, you know, he made comments. It's so easy to research this stuff, but he made comments about how you want to make money, you start a religion. I mean, that you hear somebody say something like that, and it makes you question anything that happens, you know, going forward. But I feel like those second levels were created, you know, because that's where the money was going to be. And but it seems like at the end of his life, he was a believer of it. And I think that to believe your own stuff, that requires a fairly decent amount of something, right? Or substance abuse. Thank you, Kathy. I mean, I think there's probably something to that, you know. These people, I mean, we know that there's some evidence out there that you know, there was some nitrous oxide involved in one of his you know, incredible visions. So there's definitely, you know, some drugs there, and how much that played a hand. See, Steven says, absolutely, he was bipolar and he wouldn't take medication. And you know what? If he was bipolar and he wouldn't take medication, it also explains a great deal of, you know, those writing sessions that people talk about. Like if you went completely manic, you know, you could sit at a typewriter and just go for hours, and it would seem normal to the person doing it. Hold one moment, peeps. Let me just make sure I'm not making any mistakes. Well, here's the thing. I'm probably making mistakes. It's almost a lock that I'm making mistakes. Just want to make sure I'm not making any big ones. So, you know, here's the thing with this. I'm putting this out here. I really want to listen to like 30 or 40 minutes of this, and I'd like to do it with somebody that could translate it, because I didn't play this for you because it would just leave you like this. I'm not kidding. The amount of lingo used. I not only do I need a Scientologist, but I need a Scientologist who's really kind of well versed in this whole auditing thing, because the very beginning of this tape is him kind of preaching to the team about the proper way to audit. And it's the language is just, there are so many abbreviations. They abbreviate everything. They talk in letters. They don't talk in sentences, and it's kind of bizarre. Yeah, you know what? And I could see where somebody would be. I can see where somebody would be fired up to get it off of their chest. Hello, Christy. Good to see you. Time to call in AA Ron. Tell you what, feel free. You guys will be over there. Drop it in his comment section. I already sent him a clip of this. I've already started trying to put it in his ear, but I would absolutely love to get together with him. You know what? I would just like to hear him translate this. I really would. It's thick. It is a different language altogether. Hold on 1 second. Sorry, people. This is dead air. Did Mark Wages told you that we were going to lose some internet today? For those of you who don't know, Mark is one of the founding members of the Lifeboat, and he has a channel called Wages World where he talks about space weather, and he's damn good at it. I mean, not just understanding it, but the ability to explain it to somebody so simply that a Scoville can understand it and not talk down to you at the same time. So it's, but we really do get affected by that stuff. It's one of the reasons that a lot of people seem to be having problems with their internet V. This family is understanding of people who are on medical treatment versus addiction and trauma and mental health. That all relates to this content. Absolutely. We're not an anti-drug channel, right? We're an anti-addiction channel. We're an anti anything that is making you live your life in a way that you don't want to channel. I can see that, Tommy Bird. I can see that. No, we're definitely not judgmental. We're not judgmental, and we usually got cat in a basket. Those are the two rules around here. Sadly, the cat made an appearance this morning, so we probably won't see her again today. She's kind of a one-trick pony, her kitty. She used to do a couple shows a day, but Kathy, this is a fun discussion, and it's something that I really want to explore. But I'm telling you right now, I'm out of my element. The part that I played for you, I played for a reason, because it's super clear, he in his own voice talking about just how this went down, just how they captured people, how they blew them up and had the ribbon in the air to catch them, and yeah, we're an anti-despair channel. Booyah! What's up? There you go, Tommy Bird, man. Tommy's been doing this forever. If you knew how often Tommy Bird says something and I go, yeah, I should have said that. It's but it's all good because having Tommy around gets it done. That's a good way of putting it, Tommy B. Listen, everybody agreed. Everybody agreed, Tommy. You got a resounding endorsement on that on that comment. I think you pretty much nailed that. Yeah, we're anti-troll to be sure. Pro-positive, exactly. Yeah, and pro-cat. Make no mistake, we are pro-feline on this channel. We are cat people. I have nothing against dogs, by the way. I love dogs. I just happen to be a cat person. A big time. No joke. Don't mess with me. I am a cat person. Well, there's that. I am a cat person. I love cats. Alrighty, people. I have put out the challenge to all people out there that can translate this thing for me. And if you want to go by and listen, you're not going to see him, right? There's no video of it. It's just him talking. But if you go by and listen to that entire thing, I really want your opinion on it. Thanks, Tommy. I love that, man. He says, thanks, guys. It's just truth. That's what the boat's done for me. I love it. What time is it in your time zone? This is going to blow you away, right? But I have actually seceded from the time zone thing. So I'm just keeping myself on Greenwich Mean Time. I can't back that up. I'm not at all. I'm kidding. It's currently it is 5 minutes or 7 minutes after the hour of 11. Right? Yeah, 5 after 11. So my pocket watch is running a little fast, but my wristwatch is running perfectly. Question: what time is it in your time zone? Yeah, yep. I would love the litter of kittens. Now, you're darn right I would. And I got some incredible pictures from Goldie, who had some 4-week-old kitties. I was loving it. How many videos do you make a day now? I only make videos at 5 o'clock at night, at 5 o'clock in the morning. That is what we do every single day on the lifeboat. Then something will come up, and there's some content that we want to get out and share with everybody. This was kind of this was to get a few people that had written in and said to me, where's this audio you were talking about? Because I referenced this thing numerous times with AA Ron when we were on the last time together, and I wanted to play a small clip of it. And also the number of people who say to me, remind me where I can find it. The number of people, I will do that right now. The number of people who say to me things about this, oh, that never happened. There is no Xenu thing. I've heard Grant Cardone say it on a radio show. I've heard a bunch of people say it, and obviously they know that is not the truth. It is called. The name of the video is called Secret Scientology. Xenu, that's Xemu with an M, full lecture. You pop that into YouTube and you're going to get the entire lecture. You'll see a picture of old LRH leaning on his hand. I'll tell you something. He had an excellent taste in wristwatches. See that? You thought I couldn't say anything nice about the guy? The guy bought excellent watches. He really did. And he bought watches that in their time might not have been considered really amazing. But boy, they over time, they've become some of the most collectible watches. He really had a beautiful collection. Proud of you, Yankee Kyle. That's fantastic. 35 years. Tuesday. Yes, I'm sorry. It is Tuesday. It's you know what? I lose sight of the fact that we've got people all over the planet. What is that sound? I don't know. That always scares me when someone says that. I don't know what the sound is. When someone who thinks they're so elevated like LRH goes on a rant like that, we call it bloviating. Great word. My father was a huge fan of the term bloviating, to bloviate. Where am I located? I am in the desert. I live in Arizona. Tommy Bird says, I like surprise boats. I'll be honest with you, I do too. Grant Cardone is a whole other story. Well, it's funny. There are a lot of whole other stories around Scientology. It's another thing that's just sort of funny, isn't it? Yeah. Audio name is Secret Scientology Xenu Full Lecture. Sounds like you found it. And I'm going to leave you people to go and listen to it right now. I would do it. I really would. You can play about 90% of it on double speed. Slow down for the good stuff. For those of you that speak Scientology, you're going to get a lot more out of the beginning of it than I could have, because it is just a foreign language. And I mean that. It is a foreign language. Just wondering my connection with Aaron. Well, we have become friends online that collaborate with one another. The only connection we really had was, which is odd, is that one of my business associates and best friends years ago, guy I spent a lot of time with, traveled around with, did 3 or 4 different business deals in a row with, turned out years later to be Aaron's best friend. And that individual is a Scientologist, and he's OT8. He's a big time Scientologist. But we shared a best friend, so to speak. We never knew each other or anything else. But when we first started corresponding, one of the reasons that I reached out to him was to ask him if he knew this individual. And he's like, yeah, I know him. He was, literally like best friends. So, one of the only people they hung out with, and which was an odd coincidence to be sure, but it gave us a lot more to talk about. And I said, could send him some video clips from way back in the day of our mutual friend, back when the guy still had dark hair. I'm old, but I would say that's probably about it. And we both love the guy. You know what I mean? We still, he stopped talking to AA Ron apparently because of AA Ron being an SP now, but he stopped talking to me years ago because I was a degenerate and a drug addict, and his wife definitely did not like me. Yes, Tommy helped Aaron with a discussion on what is likely to happen to Danny Masterson on the California prison system. That was our first interaction on the channel, had to do with Danny Masterson. I am a convicted bank robber and have been to prison for 3 different trips to prison, and I was a heroin addict. So, often if people want to know about what something is like on the inside of prison, they will ask me, because I was there and I can kind of articulate it. Sadly, a lot of people that did the amount of dope that I've done can't carry on a conversation. My first time seeing that was the first time seeing me rather. You saw that episode. That was the very first one that we did. The very first one. I think it's had about 120,000 views. But what had happened was there was a lot of misinformation that was coming out, around that. One of the first things that came out was people said, "Oh, he gets put into this special place where the only people there are people just like him, same kinds of crime and all of that, and they're very, very safe facilities." And it's not the case. Like, it's just not how it goes down. They don't have that kind of room. Sure, there'll be a bunch of people just like him in that unit, but there'll also be guys that dropped out of gangs, guys that got stabbed and had to leave gangs, and there's going to be some tough people, especially at a level 4 yard, which is where he's going to be. Well, I'm really glad that Christy the Normie. I'm really glad that you found this channel too. She's the queen of the normies. The queen of the normies. That is high praise. 5.8. I know, Carousel. Can you believe that? 5,800 people. We are really, really, really been blessed with everything that's been going on, and we love it. They come in. You get waves. This doesn't stay like this ever. If it did, life would just be so fantastic. The number of people we could reach, the number of people we could help get sober, the things we could do. If it grew like this and never stopped, we would be able to raise money. We'd be able to do a lot of things to really change the war on drugs. No joke. So, but let's hope it keeps going. That is one of my favorite interviews on AA Ron's channel. Well, that's a cool thing to say. I'll be honest, and I'm not doing this to try to sound like a nice guy. Watch Aaron with anybody, right? Watch Aaron with anybody, and you will see that he doesn't do a bad interview, man. He just doesn't. When you watch him talk to people, there's never downtime. There's never talking over one another. There's never anything. It flows, and he asks fantastic questions. When the lull kind of takes effect, he's always there with the next question. He's really good at what he does. He really is, and so he makes you come. If you're comfortable on somebody's show, you're probably going to do some better communicating anyway. He really is. He's stunningly good at it. There's no question. Even the bad ones, there's always something to learn. There is. And he is always entertaining, even through interviews that may not be fantastic. He's always entertaining. He always makes it fun. Like, I'll just be honest. I watch other people, and if the interview sucks, I'm usually bailing. Like I'm gone. I'm not watching this. Very often, even if the person that's on may not, I may not be completely enthralled with what the person's talking about or anything else. I'm not going anywhere because I do enjoy. I just enjoy watching Aaron. He really is a fun cat to watch. So, all right, people, I'm going to. I actually have a tremendous amount of work that I have to do. I'll put it this way: I have about an hour and a half of work to do, and I've got 36 minutes to get it done. So that's kind of where I'm at, right? That is kind of where I'm at. John Doe, please be careful. Don't destroy your van. You know what Aaron is letting his hair down, so to speak, I think. Maha says, true, he is. Yeah, he is. And he's a super, super nice guy. And you know what, people? My connection to Aaron, here's another connection. Oftentimes when people go through really, really traumatic stuff, like your entire world being upended, like you having to change everything you believe, you having to change everything about what you are, and boom, your world just gets completely crushed. There are always several different ways that people can go. And Aaron is just incredible. He's taken all of the negative that has happened to him, and he can laugh at it. He's self-deprecating. He jokes that, hey, what do I know? I was raised in a cult. That kind of self-deprecating humor where he picks on himself. He's likable in a big way. And a lot of times people who make it through something like that are bitter as hell. And you know something? I'm not bad-mouthing those people. I get it. I do. I completely get why they would be bitter. I've watched the same thing happen with people on drugs. People who manage to get sober, but they're just not quite ever the same. They just sort of carry this chip on their shoulder. I don't know whether it's they wish they could keep using or they hate all of the people who can, but some combination of the two. But it's always beautiful when somebody can come out of prison or come out of drugs or come out of a cult or any really traumatic situation and just to still be a beautiful soul who's vibrant and seems to enjoy the world. That's a beautiful thing, and I think it's kind of rare. Yeah, Stephen, I agree. Stephen says, I feel for anyone that has to start over from a cult. It can't be easy. It can't be even remotely close to easy. It's a tall order, and especially when you consider that very often your family is just going to hate you, right? It's not just if you had to cope with this under the best of circumstances, it would be really, really difficult. Hey, thank you, SPTV Tattoo Warrior. Appreciate you. I have work to do too, so I gotta go. Alrighty, people. I am Captain Tommy. I read patent titled Pathogenic Myo. John Doe, send me an email on that if you don't mind, brother. Please send me an email on that. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville. We'll see you guys on the boat tonight at 5, tomorrow morning at 5, and then tomorrow night at 5. Stay at 5. We're live at the 5.